Hey guys, what's up? My name is Thomas Spark and welcome back to another video. Here on the channel, I've reviewed 65 plus VPNs and I've been reviewing VPNs for over 5 years. During this time, I've learned a lot about the industry. I've learned a lot about the community as well. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what I learned about VPN companies, the communities, and even reviewers themselves, so that way you can learn a little bit about it without having to waste 5 years of your life like I did. So guys, probably the number one thing that I've learned, I guess this list isn't in any particular order from worst to least or anything like that, just the first thing I want to start with anyways, is that some VPN companies do not like criticism or constructive feedback. The only thing they really seem interested in doing is improving the public perception, not actually the product and the way they do things. Not only that, but even in some of my videos criticizing NordVPN, I've been receiving downvotes lately, paid downvotes, and I even made a video exposing this kind of activity. I couldn't really confirm which company that was doing that, but I think it's pretty obvious when all the videos about NordVPN get paid to be downvoted. The same companies that don't like criticism seem also perhaps to do things like that, which is very shady and quite embarrassing. Again, I don't really have any proof or anything like that, but I did find proof of somebody doing this, and it leads me to believe that, VPNs themselves, a lot of them don't really like criticism. Number two, on the channel I've discovered that I simply cannot win with some viewers. People either think I'm a shill when I'm being too positive about a product and recommending it to people when I think it's a good product and they like it. Some of my community wants me to make videos on the product that they like, so people will call me a shill when I do this, and then when I'm too critical and judgmental of a product or honest about it, they will say that I am just being ignorant and too fussy and making up things that aren't simply true when it's just criticism. So I can't win when I'm being positive, and I can't win when I'm being negative. I think this is something a lot of reviewers have to deal with, but for the most part, I would say that's maybe only 10% of my viewership. The other 90% doesn't have much to say, or they have good things to say about my content and they like it, understand what I do, and subscribe to the channel or participate in the Discord community, and we all get along. So there's that. Another thing I've learned is that VPNs don't really mind using black hat marketing techniques like fake reviews on app stores. If you look at most of the VPN providers, they have 30 to 100,000 reviews, which is ridiculous, especially since some of them aren't really that big, and most of the reviews themselves don't have proper English and don't seem like real reviews. You can find this on Trustpilot, Google Play, iOS, and stuff like that. So fake reviews are a big part of the industry, a big part of most review industries as well for applications and stuff like that. Not only that, I've also seen VPN providers, like I said, making fake Trustpilot reviews, paying YouTubers millions of dollars to advertise their product. Pretty much VPNs will do whatever they can do to get the product in front of you, even if their product is not good at all. Ironically, the most advertised products you'll see out there in terms of VPN are often products that are not good at all and just spend all their money on marketing. This is true in other industries as well. You've seen this with Manscaped. They advertise all over the place and it's actually an inferior product. You can look up reviews of people who have actually used it and they don't like it. Not only that, but you have stuff like Raid Shadow Legends, which is just a pay-to-win mobile game. Other stuff like Squarespace is not really that good either, kind of overpriced. Pretty much the most popular advertised products are often, just very mediocre and not good at all. Even stuff like those little earbuds, I think they're called Raycon, they're not any good either. So just like some of the other VPNs out there, like NordVPN, sometimes even ExpressVPN, I would say, they're just over-advertised and they would do better spending money on actually product development and not just mass marketing. Number four is I think that some VPNs actually have pretty good people working there. Some VPN providers really do seem intent on making good products, that they care about privacy. I would say a couple of the teams that come to mind are stuff like TorGuard, VPN, AirVPN, Molvad. Some of these companies really do seem to care a lot about privacy, and they do not compromise anyone's privacy they do so by making a good product. So I do think that some VPNs make the industry look good and set a good precedent for protecting privacy in the future. Not every VPN will do this, but I do think that some do this. Now, I think that every VPN thinks it's the best VPN service, but I do think that 99% of them are actually trash. There are simply just too many VPNs in the marketplace, and I think it's become so competitive that it has made some products really good, but the competition has also meant that some VPNs cannot adapt, and since they cannot adapt, they just kind of suck. We see VPNs like BitGuard, BTGuard, some VPNs even like AirVPN admittedly kind of falling behind the curve a little bit. Some VPNs not keeping up with streaming compatibility, not adjusting their simultaneous connections, not adjusting their pricing to stay modern and current with what the current price trends are. So a lot of VPNs get out of date, but that doesn't stop most every single VPN out there from saying it's the best one, even though it's probably not. And 99% of VPNs, I would say, are either in tier 3, tier 4, and even on the lower end of tier 2. I wouldn't really recommend using those ones. Number 6 is, I think the VPN review space itself, specifically in terms of meta, is very competitive. I've met several VPN reviewers on YouTube, some of the more prevalent ones that don't have their channels botted up with subscriptions and views are pretty toxic. They're not very friendly. Interacting with some has been a very tiresome experience. I'm not really sure why that's the case in some ways. Maybe some of these other reviewers out there feel threatened. Because my channel is probably the biggest, specifically VPN review channel there is. However, that said, not every privacy advocate on YouTube is like this. Take, for example, someone like Rob Braxman. He's a really good guy, knows his shit, former CEO of tech companies, and he's never been toxic to me. I reached out to him personally, a very friendly guy. We're probably going to do a collaboration someday in the future. But yeah, not everyone is a dick in the VPN review space or the privacy space. A lot of people are, though. I'm not going to specifically mention them because I don't really want to dive into that toxic atmosphere and give these people attention. But yeah, you could probably find who those people on YouTube could be. Number 8 is that I do not think jurisdictions matters as much as people think. This has primarily been created by companies outside of the 5 and 14 eyes trying to market themselves as a security product to other companies based within the 5 and 14 eyes. Now, sure, you don't really want to use a VPN in countries like Russia, China, or any other country that has data retention laws, but for the most part, I think if you're just downloading Linux ISOs, you're probably safe to use a VPN within the 5 and 14 eyes. Especially because a lot of the VPNs that are the best in terms of pricing, speeds, and stuff like that are within the 5 and 14 eyes. And some of my other ones like VPN are based in the British Virgin Islands, stuff like ExpressVPN. A lot of these companies have their team kind of scattered out throughout the world, and even companies like TorGuard, which are based in the US, also have employees scattered throughout the world as well. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter that much. If you're a terrorist or something like that, you probably shouldn't be using a VPN, and those are the people that should worry about the spy agencies. And if you're using a VPN in 5 and 14 eyes, just make sure it doesn't have any mandatory data retention laws, which the USA doesn't. So I don't have a problem recommending a VPN based in the USA, for example. Number 9, I think most VPN reviews on the internet are intentionally misleading. That's because most VPN reviews have a goal to sell you a specific VPN or to get you not to buy a specific VPN they're reviewing. This is why a lot of TorGuard reviews you see on the internet, for example, so my favorite example to pick, will advertise or review TorGuard showing it stretched out to make it purposely ugly. Or what they'll do is purposely miss some features about the product to make it seem less ideal to use. They might use vague definitions of a product like, it's hard to use, it's clunky to use, I don't like the look of it.
If you want a polished, super tight-knit experience, I don't know if I could recommend TorGuard just because it is a bit of a cluttered experience as a whole between all its clients and UI issues.
TorGuard is a great VPN that will keep your data safe, can be very good for streaming, and is pretty affordable to boot. However, we rarely rank it very high among the top of our VPN reviews because you need to spend some extra money to get the most out of it, and because it isn't that great to use for people unfamiliar with VPNs. It's not hard to use as such, but you do need to know what you're doing if you start messing with its settings and so forth. Using TorGuard at a basic level isn't much different than any other VPN. You click on the location menu, scroll through servers till you find the one you want, connect, and you are essentially good to go. The tricky part is dealing with all these settings. While leaving all those buttons on default is an okay option, chances are you may want to tweak them to optimize either for speed or security. However, as you can see, you need some know-how to do this right. Worst case scenario, you could even dial down the security so far that you leave yourself unprotected. Exactly the opposite of what you set out to do. This is TorGuard's biggest weakness and why we recommend people new to VPNs rather stay away. If you know a bit about VPNs or are willing to learn, you get a really good service for decent money.
When in fact, these things are entirely subjective things, not really objective things to consider about a product, and they're not things I consider really at all. If you consider a good VPN review, you're going to be looking for specific features, specific speeds, specific pricing, and even stream compatibility, and that's a hallmark of the channel. I don't consider subjective things to be a component of my VPN review system. Finally, number 10 is that a lot of people think that making a VPS or making your own VPN is actually more anonymous or safer than using a VPN service, and this is simply not true because you do not want to trust a centralized VPS provider for torrenting. That's because if you torrent with your own VPS, if this IP is associated only to you, you're the only one using it. So if you torrent with your VPS or your self-hosted VPN, and some copyright troll company sees this IP, they're going to go to your VPS and they're going to tell them it's you. This is how you get copyright troll really knowing who you are when you self-host your VPS, and this happens to people all the time. I've even had people on my Discord channel say they got notices this way when they're hosting their own VPS, and they turn to VPNs that don't collect logs and are not going to respond to these types of letters. If you choose a tier 1 VPN, you'll probably be good to go. Anyways guys, those are some things I've learned after 5 years of reviewing VPNs and doing over 65 VPN reviews. I hope you learned a thing or two today. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know down in the comments down below. If you want to participate in the community, come over to my Discord. It'll be down in the description. If you want to help support the channel, go ahead and click on some of my affiliate links down in the description down below or on vpntierlist.com. And I'll see you again in the next video very soon.